Alright, retro review time. I figure this would be a good way to talk about some old movies and talk about the DC animated films. I'll get around to that. But yeah, I just want to talk about some old movies I've been watching, and I'm going to be a little bit more spoilery in these because, if a movie's still in theaters, then it's tougher to say spoilers. But if a movie's been out for like a decade, the expectation is that you've seen it, right? So I don't have to hold back as much. And in these retro reviews, I'm probably only going to be talking about movies I like. Like, why would I review a really old film that's like crap, Like, why would I do that? But anyway, the one film I want to talk about right now is a Peter Jackson film, and it came out in 2005. And that is King Kong. I fucking love King Kong. I love the deluxe extended edition too. Even though it's overly long, I don't mind it because I like long movies. I don't get people that don't like long movies. It's just more time to be invested in the world. I get if you don't have time to watch it, but make time. You know what I'm saying? Like, make a day of it. You know what I'm saying? It's a good movie. It deserves a watch, especially this deluxe extended edition. It's so good. And this is a case where it wasn't the critics who got it wrong. It was the audience that got it wrong. I mean, it's rare, but the audience could get it wrong sometimes. And when King Kong came out, it really polarized the audience. A lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was too long. But the critics universally seemed to like it because it's a good movie, It has good character development, it has a great story, it's easy to follow. I mean, like, it's not like this ain't like a complicated movie, And it's emotional. When King Kong dies in the end, I fucking cry. Okay? Every fucking time. I tear up. The very first time I saw it in theaters in 2005, I was crying. I was in middle school, I think, when I saw it, and I fucking cried my ass off. And without using any words, you're able to form a connection with the giant King Kong character, right? Because Andy Serkis, who played Gollum in Lord of the Rings, and by the way, Peter Jackson was just coming off of Lord of the Rings. So after Return of the King came out, they started production on King Kong. Or resumed production, I should say, because they originally started it with Peter Jackson in 1996, and then they got canceled, and then they were able to restart in like 2004 or 2003 or something. And after the success of Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson was able to make whatever film he wanted. So that's what he did. And he made the one film he's been wanting to make his whole life, and that's King Kong. Now, I personally didn't like the new King Kong, the Skull Island one. I didn't like it that much because I just felt like they didn't make King Kong likable enough. He just seemed like a monster. And he didn't look very sympathetic. He just looked like a fucking big beast and not very appealing, to the eyes. But this King Kong in Peter Jackson's movie, you could see all the emotions on his face. The CG is so well done. It is so well done. It still holds up today. It came out in 2005. It still looks better than half the movies that come out today. And it's the little emotions on his face that really get you feeling for the character, right? And to me, this is the perfect King Kong film. It's better than the 1933 King Kong. And I went through on Rotten Tomatoes. I read some audience reviews because it's still like split down the middle. Like, it's 50-50. Either people love King Kong or they hate it. The Peter Jackson King Kong. And I was reading it, and I was dumbfounded to see people saying that the 1933 King Kong was better than this, was better than the 2005 remake. And I was just like, are you kidding me right now? Are you fucking kidding me right now? That puppet, is better than this beautiful CGI King Kong? That's looks so fucking real, and the lighting's amazing, and the acting is way better than the original. The storyline's way better because of the original. They're hunting in the 1933 movie. They're hunting the King Kong. They know it's there on the island. In this new movie, 2005 Peter Jackson movie, they don't know King Kong's on the island until they get there. Denham, who is played by Jack Black, which, by the way, Jack Black does an amazing performance in this movie. He's still comedic, but there's times where he gets serious. It's almost like he's a real person in this movie, and he's not acting like Jack Black. He's acting like the character, right? And his whole goal in the movie is just to be filming on this island, and he wants to capture the King Kong monster on film, right? So that's his whole purpose, and it's clear throughout the whole movie that that's his purpose, is to make this film on this island of this map that he just discovered. Like, it's so straightforward. And the beginning of the film is so funny when he's talking to the producers, and he's talking about this mysterious island, and like, I've got a map, and we're gonna head to this mysterious island, and we're gonna film stuff that no one's ever seen before. And then one of the producers in the back goes, "Will there be boobs?" Boobs. Everyone likes boobs. And Jack Black's character goes, what? No, what? Like, all I could think was Zack Snyder and like WB executives, like Jack Black was Zack Snyder. He's like, what? No, there's no boobs. What? This is artistic integrity. Like, it's so funny. It's all I could think, that whole scene. But yeah, that's his whole subplot. And there's so many callbacks to the original movie. Like, just the fact that all the characters are named the same from the original movie, they all have the same names. That's a great little detail right there. That the boat they're traveling on is the same name as the original boat, from 1933, the Venture, like, it's so many callbacks to the original. Same exact scene where they're on the log and King Kong is shaking the log, to throw him down that pit. That was in the original movie. And Peter Jackson he does a one-up on the original movie, and King Kong throws them down the trench on the log into the spider pit, which was a deleted scene from the original movie. So Peter Jackson was able to tie in a deleted scene from the original movie and make it make sense, have it be a natural progression of the story. Like, so much about this new King Kong is better than the original. It's stupid to say that the original is better. It's stupid. You don't feel the emotion nearly as much in the 1933 movie. Yes, the new King Kong's 4 hours long, but it is so worth it. It is so worth the 4 hours. It's so beautiful, and it's such an epic tale. And I personally like it more than some Lord of the Rings films, Like, it's like blasphemy to say, and I love Lord of the Rings, but like, as a self-contained story, I think King Kong is better because you have a beginning, middle, and end. You have the whole story being told in one movie. King Kong dies in the end, and that's probably why the studio didn't like the movie, like, because King Kong dies. You can't really do a sequel, The movie kind of ends, Beauty. It was Beauty that killed the Beast, that whole line, the whole catalyst for the whole movie, right? That's how the movie ends. You can't really do any sequels or anything. And all the island stuff, so good. And the way they did the natives was just so ingenious. And I even watched the behind the scenes about the natives, and they come up with some interesting backstory on the natives. Like, the natives have just been there for a couple hundred years. Like, the island is like a few thousand years old, and there was a ancient civilization that was there, but they went extinct, And these new natives that are there are people from slave ships that crashed on the island, and they've just been hanging on to the side of the island where the gate is, and they've just been surviving, like, as cannibals or something, like, afraid to go on the other side of the gate. And the island is sinking into the water, so where they're living is getting smaller and smaller. It's just like a super interesting backstory that they didn't even go into on the film. They don't even say all that. Like, so you have no idea that these people on this island are not the original natives, and I love that idea. I think that's awesome. And I think it totally helps the natives out. I mean, I think it totally helps those scenes out, too, if you know that backstory of those natives. And then, like, when they come back to New York and they do the play and shit, they use the original music from the 1933 movie, and they have all the natives set up. They have them dressed like the 1933 movie, Like Hollywood eyes, like a Hollywood version of Africa and stuff like that. Like, they're wearing tribal stuff and stuff like that. And they have the original 1933 music playing. in the orchestra. It's so cool how they're able to tie all that together. Jack Black's character, like this is his interpretation of what happened, and that's what the 1933 movie is. It's his interpretation of what happened. It's that character's interpretation. Like I think that's fucking awesome. There's like you can still watch the 1933 movie. Like it doesn't take away from the 2005 movie, and the 2005 movie doesn't take away from the 1933 movie. But so many great, memorable moments of this movie. Naomi Watts, I think her name is. She plays the lead in the movie, the girl that gets taken by Khan, and she screams her ass off. Like it's probably the best movie screams you've ever heard. Like I've seen a lot of horror films. Damn, like that's some of the best movie screams I've ever heard. And I don't think that gets enough credit at all. It should. And then you have Adrien Brody in the movie too, and he's a great fucking actor. He was in a movie called The Pianist. I'm gonna call it Pianist. I think it's called Pianist, but that sounds too close to penis, so I'll just call it Pianist. But he's in the movie. He's great, and he plays off Naomi so good. You know what I'm saying? Like they're telling full stories with just their eyes. You know, that's it. Like they have one or two lines of dialogue, and then it's just the rest of them. It's just they're just looking at each other, and you totally get what's happening. You know, you totally get that they're falling in love with each other and stuff like that when they're on the boat journey. Like it's such a well done movie. Like I understand how people could even say this isn't a good movie. You know, like it's clearly a great movie, and it's clearly better than the 1933 film. It's clearly more entertaining. Like it's pretty amazing. A lot of great moments in the film. I think one of my favorite moments is when Jack Black says, "Khan, the eighth wonder of the world," and then it does that hard cut to New York. Like it goes from Skull Island to New York in one cut, and apparently there was people complaining about that we didn't see Khan get loaded on the ship and then brought to New York, and I can't believe people were complaining about that. Like really? You can't put it together yourself that they put Khan on the boat and they went to New York? Like, you can't put that together? What the fuck? Why does this movie gotta explain everything to you? Like, clearly, they get him to New York, they put him in the theater, alright? This isn't, like, rocket science right now. You know what I'm saying? They put him on the ship goes to New York. I mean, the better question is how'd they get him in the theater? That's the question people should be asking. How'd they get this giant gorilla into this theater? That should be the main question. But no. They're always like, how do you get from the Skull Island to New York? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Or like, are you stupid? Are you stupid? And another funny line when they're in the theater at the end, and Jack Black's character goes, these chains are made out of chrome steel. And his like eyes like get real wide and his eyebrows go up. Chrome steel. I thought that shit was so fucking funny. As if like chrome steel is like some amazing technology that's like impervious. It's a lot of death in the movie, but there's barely any blood. I don't think there's any blood in the movie at all. It's done very classy. You know what I'm saying? Like you get attached to a lot of the characters on the boat journey to the island, and then you'll just see them die. You know what I'm saying? Like Lumpy, the fucking chef, who's also played by Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is playing King Kong in this movie, and he's playing the chef. He gets eaten at the end, and you're like, oh man, I want him to live. Like, because he was just he's a funny character. And they actually cut out a lot of his scenes in the theatrical cut, and the extended cut, you get a little bit more of him, and I like it. I like his character. I wish there was even more of him. I mean, I think Andy Serkis does a great job doing this little side character and making you care about this character. It really means nothing for the story, but when he dies, you're like, oh boy, this is a bad situation they're in. You know, a lot of people are dying that we've been attached to the whole time. The first mate dies, the chef dies, the Chinese guy that was at the very beginning of the boat venture, he dies. Like, they all die in this like one scene on the log, right? And I just feel like it adds so much weight to the spider pit and stuff. It's like, who else is going to die right now, you know? So they do a great job balancing all these side characters and making you care about all these side characters so that when they die, you actually feel something. And they're not just random people dying, you know? And I know I'm jumping all over the place, but back near the end of the movie, when King Kong breaks out of the theater, he starts picking up random blonde-haired women thinking it's like you know, the girl he's been holding the whole movie. Then he sees it's not her, and then he tosses them to the side, like they're falling like a good 20, 30 feet to the ground. Like they're clearly gonna break some bones. But it's so funny. Like it's so funny. He just tosses them to the side, and then he finally finds her, Anne, I think her name is. That's Naomi Watts' character's name, Anne something. But he finds her, and they have this little moment where they're like skating on ice, and they're having fun, and then it gets interrupted by, explosions and military, and then King Kong has to make a run for it, and he runs to the top of the Empire State Building, and like how this is all gonna end. You know how it's gonna end. He's gonna die. He's gonna fall off the fucking building. And like, there's a shot where he's climbing up it, and the camera just like slowly panning out and revealing the whole Empire State Building. And it's just a great moment. Like the music's playing in such a way. And by the way, James Newton Howard does the music for this movie, and he does a fucking amazing job on this movie. This is one of his best scores he's ever written. And I think he did a horrible job with the Green Lantern film. But with this film, I feel like he really brought the film to life with his music. And like when the moments where King Kong is climbing the Empire State Building, or when he dies, you got very subtle music cues that are making you cry. Like it's what's adding to the emotion of the scene. And so I think the music is a great part of the movie. And maybe a little overlooked too, because I don't know what people thinking when they say this is a bad movie. Like, I just rewatched the movie, like, twice, like, back to back, because it was that good. Like, I couldn't, like, I watched it all the way through, and I'm like, I gotta watch that shit again. Like a 4-hour movie. I had to watch twice, And I don't know specifically, like, why I liked it so much. I think it's a mixture of, like, the music, the acting, the amazing special effects, the emotion behind Khan's death, I think the movie being 4 hours helps that moment when Khan dies, because it's like you spent like over 2 hours, or close to like 2 hours with this gorilla, liking him and starting to understand him, and then he dies. So I guess that's why I really liked it, because it's a giant gorilla who can't talk. Andy Serkis does all the acting through the face, and body movements. That's it. This character doesn't talk at all, and yet you still get invested in it, and you care when he dies. Like, that's insane. That's insane. Very few movies could do that. I think Peter Jackson is an amazing director. Like, clearly. Like, and he was coming off of Lord of the Rings and stuff. Like, people should have loved this movie when it came out. Now I think it has more of a following than it used to, but my God, this film is way better than Skull Island. It's way better than the new Godzilla film. This is like the best monster movie, giant monster movie there's ever been made. Like, I'll stand by that forever. I give it 5 stars. I give that shit 5 stars, King Kong is like the best monster movie that will ever be made. It's the best King Kong movie that will ever be made. I can't really say much more than that. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know what I've been talking about this whole time, and I think you might get it. If you hated the movie, I don't know why you hated it. I mean, it's so beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful. Yeah, there's some weird line delivery from Naomi Watts' character, and like at the beginning of the film, near the end of the film, like all that is gone. Like, she becomes way more natural, but at the beginning of the film, when she's talking to Jack Black in the diner, she seems very wooden. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if that was like intentional, but it just doesn't seem right. Something doesn't seem right about that scene. But other than that, like, acting was top notch. Every supporting actor was amazing. Jack Black was way better than anybody gave him credit for. Like, he's way better than anyone gave him credit for. He's a really good actor. He's totally not the Tenacious D, rock, rigigigoo, rigigigoo. He's not that at all in this movie, He's a completely different character, but he's still funny, It's like a different type of humor, and it's great. But yeah, that's what I think of the movie. How's that for a retro review, King Kong, 2005, Peter Jackson. You haven't seen it? You gotta see it at least once in your life, right? I give it 5 stars. What do y'all think about it? What do you think about this movie? Have you seen this movie? Do you like this movie? Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it. Because I'm really interested to see if people can come up with a real reason why the movie's not good. Because I feel like it's a very well crafted movie, beginning to end, and there's a lot of thought and a lot of effort put into the movie that people probably don't give it credit for. But anyway, yeah, I love the movie. Yeah, that's it for now. I hope everyone's having a good day. My next retro review will probably be Mask of the Phantasm, because that's what I want to try to do. Every time I do a retro review of like a live action film like King Kong, I'm going to do one of a DC animated film too alongside it. I think that'll be a good way to do these retro reviews, just so I can get some of these DC animated films done, you know? Anyway, yeah. I'll see you all in the next one, okay? Bye-bye for now.